Hello students, in our last class we have completed preparations as well as physical properties of alkenes. In today's class, that is lecture number 2 of alkenes, we'll start with the chemical properties of alkenes. Right, chemical properties. Already known to you, alkenes are unsaturated hydrocarbons which contains a carbon-carbon double bond. Alkenes are having a carbon-carbon double bond. Of course, in that one is a sigma bond and other one is a pi bond. Because of unsaturation, alkenes undergoes addition reactions only. I'll repeat. Because of unsaturation, alkenes undergoes addition reactions only. Like which type addition reactions are taking place means alkenes undergoes electrophilic as well as free radical addition reactions will take place. Let's discuss one by one all addition reactions of alkenes. Right. First addition reaction is addition of hydrogen. Means will add hydrogen molecule to alkene across its double bond. Let's see what happens. Directly I'll give you example. First I'll give you example like ethene. I'll give you when ethene is added with a hydrogen molecule in the presence of like a nickel platinum palladium catalyst. I'll repeat, when ethene is added with hydrogen molecule in the presence of a catalyst, then what happened? Hydrogen molecule will come and add across the double bond. One hydrogen will add here, one hydrogen will add here. Then a double bond converted into single bond and it is converted into ethane. That is ethene converted into ethane. Alkene converted into alkane. Unsaturated compound converted into saturated compound. Right. Now, and it's a related one general reaction also will write it. General reaction. For that general reaction, what we are doing, we'll do like this. Here one hydrogen will just separate, just for convenient purpose. One hydrogen I am separating and with the help of this will write a general reaction. See here, in place of hydrogen, I'll write R. Then remaining is as it is, CH double bond CH2. It is one general alkene, one alkene. It is of course ethene and it is ethane. Now we'll write here alkene. It is general alkene, and this alkene is also added with a hydrogen molecule in the presence of same nickel catalyst, and hydrogen molecule will come and add across the double bond. You will get R CH2 CH3. That is nothing but alkane is obtained. That's it. And this is only called as catalytic hydrogenation. Its another name is catalytic hydrogenation. Means we are adding a hydrogen molecule across the double bond of alkene, and of course alkene converted into alkane. And if you want, you can take one more example. It is example 1, example 2. Okay, it is a general reaction and it is an example. One more example. Instead of H, I will write CH3. Remaining as it is CH double bond CH2. Of course, it is a propene. It is a propene. We are adding hydrogen molecule in the presence of same catalyst. Again, hydrogen molecule will come and add across the double bond. When hydrogen molecule is coming and adding across the double bond, we'll get CH3, CH2, CH3. It is nothing but a propane is obtained. Propene converted into propane. Right. This is first chemical property of alkene. Because of unsaturation, it is undergoing addition reaction. It is a truly addition reaction only. Right. Second one is addition of halogen. Which halogen means particularly will take a bromination. Let's discuss now. I'll repeat. Previously we have added hydrogen molecule. Now we'll add halogen molecule. In that particularly we will take bromine. Sir, why particularly bromine only we are taking means there is a reason behind that. That reason also we'll discuss. Wait. See. Again as it is, first we'll write example. Example number 1. See, ethene again I am taking. ethene is added with a bromine in the presence of an inert solvent like carbon tetrachloride. In the presence of an inert solvent like carbon tetrachloride, then a bromine molecule will come and add across the double bond. You will get CH2Br, single bond CH2Br. See, double bond converted into single bond. In previous case also, double bond after completion of the reaction has converted into single bond. Means unsaturated compound is converted into saturated compound. And we can write its IUPAC name. Just 1,2 dibromo, 1,2 dibromo ethane. Because carbon single bond, ethane. It is of course ethene. Okay. And we can write again general reaction by using this example. We can write general reaction. For that purpose, we'll do one thing. One hydrogen I am separating. With the help of this, we can write a general reaction. That is, instead of H, I'll write R. CH double bond CH2 plus. Here, if you want directly, you can take bromine, or you can take X also. Okay, we'll write X2. In the presence of inert solvent like carbon tetrachloride. And X2 molecule will come and add across the double bond. You will get R, CH, X, single bond, CH2X. And its name. Here both halogens are adjacent to each other. When both halogens are adjacent to each other, already known to you, that is vicinal dihalide. Vicinal dihalide is obtained. Okay? Or dihaloalkane. Dihaloalkane, just like a dibromoethane type, dihaloalkane is obtained. Anyhow, double bond has converted into single bond. And if you want, you can write one more example. This is ethene. Now I'll write propene, CH3, single bond, CH double bond, CH2. It is propene, another alkene. It is example. This is general reaction. Because we have used here R, we have used here X. Okay, right. We are adding again particularly bromine in the presence of carbon tetrachloride and inert solvent. Bromine molecule will come and add across the double bond. You will get CH3, CHBr, single bond CH2Br. Again, you can write its name. 1, 2, 3. 1,2 dibromo propane. 1,2 dibromo propane is its IUPAC name. That's it. Okay. Then question arising here. Sir, why particularly bromine only we are using in this reaction? Okay. Why particularly bromine only we are using? Means see here, very important thing, that is bromine basically is having a reddish orange color will be there, or in some books reddish brown also they will give. Both are correct only. I'll repeat, bromine basically having a reddish orange or reddish brown color will be there, right? When this reddish orange colored bromine, okay, after a reaction with alkene, then we are getting 1,2 dibromoalkane we are getting. That's why before reaction its color was reddish orange. After reaction, its color will be disappeared. Before reaction, color was there. After reaction, no more color. Why color is not there? Because no bromine, no free bromine there. If a free bromine is there, definitely it shows color. After reaction, no free bromine. That's why color will be disappeared. That's why with the help of this test, we can identify whether a given compound is saturated or unsaturated. That's why this we can use as a test for unsaturation. Test for unsaturation means if a bromine loses its color, after completion of the reaction, then we can confirm that the given compound, the taken compound is unsaturated compound. Means if it is unsaturated compound, then only bromine will come and add, then only its color will be disappeared. That's why this is will use for test for unsaturation, remember. Okay, this is second chemical property of alkene. First one is just addition of hydrogen. Second one is addition of halogen. Addition of halogen, particularly we are adding a bromine, right? Then third one, addition of addition of hydrogen halide, HX, hydrogen halide. Hydrogen halide, nothing but hydrogen chloride, hydrogen bromide, hydrogen iodide type. Let's see what happens. Hydrogen halide. Yeah, first again I'll give you example. Example we'll see. Like ethene, we are adding with a hydrogen halide like HBr we are adding. What happens then? Then this HBr will come and add across a double bond, like a hydrogen is adding here, bromine is adding here. Therefore you will get hydrogen is adding here, bromine is adding here, you will get CH2H, nothing but a CH3, and a double bond converted to single bond, and CH2Br we are getting then. And already known to you its name, it is a bromoethane. Bromoethane or ethyl bromide is obtained, alkyl halide is obtained, alkene has converted into alkyl halide. Then one more question, that is, suppose hydrogen will add here, bromine will add here. Hydrogen I am adding here, bromine I am adding here. Let's see what happens. Another possibility. Okay, now I am adding hydrogen here, bromine I am adding here. Then it becomes a CH2Br, single bond, CH3. Then if you compare both the compounds, both are quite similar, no difference. It is ethyl bromide, it is also ethyl bromide only. It is one bromoethane, it is also one bromoethane only. Means there is no any difference in the products. There is no any difference in the products. You can add you can add in any manner, doesn't matter. Why? Because it is a symmetrical alkene. Symmetrical. What is the meaning of symmetrical? To this double bond, both the sides equal quantities are there. If both the sides equal quantities are there, then that alkene is called as a symmetrical alkene. In case of symmetrical alkene, whatever the manner you can add, ultimately you will get a same product only, no difference. Okay. Then one more example I'll give you for symmetrical alkene, like CH3, CH double bond, CH3. Its name butadiene. It is also symmetrical. Why? Because across the double bond, this side, that side, this side, that side, same quantity is there, same amount of carbons and hydrogens are there. That's why it is a truly symmetrical alkene. And this symmetrical alkene also is added with hydrogen bromide. Let's see what happens. First, hydrogen I'll add here, bromine I'll add here in the first stage. What happened now? First possibility, you can say. Then if you add hydrogen here, bromine here, you will get a CH3, CH2, single bond, then a CHBr, CH3. Once again, hydrogen I am adding here, bromine I am adding here. Hydrogen here, bromine here, you will get a 2-bromobutane. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2-bromobutane we are getting. Suppose hydrogen will add here, bromine will add here. Hydrogen will add here, bromine will add here. Let's see what happens. CH3, CH, Br, CH2, CH3 we are getting. And it is also 1, 2, 3, 4, 2-bromobutane only. 2-bromobutane only. Means in case of symmetrical alkenes, remember, in case of symmetrical alkene, addition of hydrogen bromide can take place in any manner, doesn't matter. You will get ultimately same type of product is obtained. You can add hydrogen here or here, bromine here or here, it doesn't matter. You will ultimately same product only obtained. This is the advantage of symmetrical alkenes. This is possible only in case of symmetrical alkene. That's why for symmetrical alkenes there is no any restriction for the addition of hydrogen bromide. Okay, all right. Once again we'll write reactions. Same reactions. Once again I am writing clearly. Yeah. Example 1. Ethene. We are adding hydrogen bromide. You will get CH3, CH2, Br, ethyl bromide. Ethene has converted into ethyl bromide. Means addition can take place in any manner, it doesn't matter here. One more symmetrical alkene I am giving. Its name butadiene. Butadiene. 1, 2, 3, 4. We are adding hydrogen bromide. You can add any manner, any type. CH3, CH2, CHBr, CH3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Its name 2-bromo butyl. Right. Next example I'll give you, that is unsymmetrical alkene. There will get some problem, will arise, will face some problem in case of unsymmetrical alkene. Let's discuss one example for unsymmetrical alkene. In case of unsymmetrical alkene, what happens, we'll see now. Say that is example 3. CH3, CH double bond, CH2. Its name is a propene. Propene is an unsymmetrical alkene. How you are telling it is an unsymmetrical alkene means across the double bond, if you see, that side will have only 1 carbon, but this side will have 2 carbons. Both the sides equal amounts are not there. That's why it is definitely unsymmetrical alkene only. And to this unsymmetrical alkene, we are adding a hydrogen bromide. Let's discuss both possibilities. See here. First case, I am adding hydrogen here, bromine here. Hydrogen I'll add here, bromine I'll add here. We'll see what happens. CH3, okay, then single bond CH2, single bond CH2Br, will get its name. 1, 2, 3, 1 bromo propane is obtained if you add hydrogen here, bromine here. Suppose if you change, how hydrogen will add here, bromine will add here. Hydrogen will add here, bromine will add here. No confusion. Just we are testing. We are seeing what happens. How many possibilities are there? All the possibilities we are discussing now here. Okay. Hydrogen first we have added here. Bromine has added here. You will get 1 bromopropane. Next, hydrogen will add here. Bromine will add here. You will get this product. CH3, CH, Br, single bond, CH3. Its name 1, 2, 3, 2-bromo propane will get 2-bromo propane. Okay. In case of symmetrical alkenes, whatever the manner you can add, ultimately you will get same product. But in case of unsymmetrical alkenes, we are getting 2 different products. One is 1 bromopropane, one is 2 bromopropane. Of course, both are different. 1 bromopropane as well as 2 bromopropane are not same. Then question arises here. Then out of these two, which is correct, which is wrong? I mean, which is major? We can say which is major, which is minor, or which is correct, which is wrong? Is question mark. Okay, I'll repeat once again. In case of unsymmetrical alkene, how the addition takes place is a big question mark. Okay, it is possibility 1, it is possibility 2. Then both possibilities we are getting. Out of these 2 possibilities, which is correct, we have to decide now. Okay, we have to decide. Then that will be decided with the help of one rule. That rule is called as Markovnikov's rule. According to Markovnikov's rule, this problem will be solved. I'll repeat. According to Markovnikov's rule, this problem will be solved. Let's see what is Markovnikov's rule. See here, I'll just remove these reactions. Markovnikov's rule. Markovnikov's rule, of course, which is very important. Yeah, according to Markovnikov's rule, out of those 2, which is major? And one more thing, Markovnikov's rule will be used only in case of unsymmetrical alkenes, but not for symmetrical alkenes. Right. According to Markovnikov's rule, see here, when unsymmetrical molecule, remember it is also unsymmetrical only, because hydrogen is different, bromine is different. When unsymmetrical molecule is added to unsymmetrical alkene, both are unsymmetrical, no doubt. When unsymmetrical molecule is added to unsymmetrical alkene, then see here, when HBr dissociated, you will get H plus and Br minus. H plus Br minus, because they are having electronegativity difference. Then according to Markovnikov's rule, when unsymmetrical molecule is added to unsymmetrical alkene, then negative part of addendum, addendum is nothing but adding a molecule, there is nothing but HBr. Negative part of addendum is going and adding to the carbon which contains less number of hydrogens. Once again we'll write clearly. CH3 CH double bond CH2 plus HBr. According to Markovnikov's rule, whether first one or second one, which is major, let's discuss once again. Okay, according to Markovnikov's rule, when unsymmetrical molecule, it is unsymmetrical molecule, is added to unsymmetrical alkene, then negative part of addendum, negative part of hydrogen halide is going and adding across the double bond which contains less number of hydrogens. Means across the double bond, we have to focus only this part. In this part, this carbon is having a 1 hydrogen, this carbon is having a 2 hydrogens. Means this carbon is having a less hydrogens, this carbon is having a less hydrogens. Means our negative part will come and add here. Br minus definitely will come and add here only, according to Markovnikov's rule. Then what about H plus? Then H plus purpose, no other, means other option, that's why H plus should come and add here only. That's it. Therefore, when Br minus is coming and adding here, H plus coming and adding here, means whether first one is major or second one is major. Means here second one is major, this is major, this is correct, this is wrong, according to Markovnikov's rule. Once again, let's discuss its statement. Markovnikov's rule states that when unsymmetrical molecule is added to unsymmetrical alkene, then negative part of adding a molecule, nothing but addendum, goes and adds to the carbon, adds to the double bonded carbon which contains less number of hydrogens. Okay, negative part is adding across the double bond which contains less number of hydrogen atoms. That's it. This is Markovnikov's rule statement. That's why according to Markovnikov's rule, 2 bromopropane is major, 1 bromopropane is minor, or we can say it is wrong, of course. Now question arising here. What is the question? Why negative part is going and adding to the carbon which contains less number of hydrogens? I'll repeat once again. Why negative part is going and adding to the carbon which contains less number of hydrogens is big question mark. To overcome this, to understand this phenomena, we have to learn, we have to study its mechanism. Let's discuss now its mechanism. Markovnikov's rule mechanism now we will discuss. Okay, right. After a discussion of mechanism, then you will understand why negative part is going and adding to the carbon which contains less number of hydrogens. Okay, right. We'll see mechanism of Markovnikov's rule. Mechanism of Markovnikov's rule. Reason: Markovnikov's rule mechanism follows electrophilic addition reaction. Electrophilic addition. Sir, what is meant by electrophilic addition? Let's discuss now. It follows electrophilic addition reaction. Right. Okay. First, I'll write once again a reaction. CH3, CH double bond CH2 plus HBr gives CH3 single bond CHBr, because the negative part will come and add to the carbon which contains less number of hydrogens. Then again single bond CH3, that is 2-bromopropane is our correct product. Right. Now we'll see its mechanism. In the mechanism, first step 1. Step 1 is ionization of hydrogen halide. Ionization of hydrogen halide. Ionization Of course, in this mechanism, we'll have total 3 steps. 3 stages are there. First step, nothing but first stage is ionization of hydrogen halide. See here what happens when HBr ionizes, definitely you will get H plus Br minus. H plus Br minus. See here carefully, being positive charge, because of positive charge, H plus we can take it as electrophile, and because of minus charge, Br minus, we can take it as nucleophile. Means we'll have here electrophile, nucleophile, electrophile, nucleophile. Both the species are available now. Electrophile is there, nucleophile is there. But our Markovnikov's rule mechanism follows electrophilic addition reaction. Why it is electrophilic addition reaction? Let's discuss now clearly. Okay. Second step. Step 2. What is the step 2? Heading attack of electrophile. Attack of electrophile. Attack of electrophile. Then where electrophile will attack? Let's discuss now. Okay. Okay. For that purpose, I'll write the main reactant. CH3, CH double bond CH2. Then our target is electrophile should attack. H plus should attack on this molecule. Okay. Electrophile attacking purpose. We need electron rich center here because it is electron deficient. Electron deficient need electron rich center. Then where is electron rich center? That purpose will make like this. I'll give you 2 possibilities. What are those 2 possibilities? We'll learn clearly. See here. First, suppose just imagine across the double bond, one is a sigma bond, one is pi bond. Just imagine, then suppose it is a sigma, it is pi. These pi electrons are shifted to right side. I'll repeat once again. If pi electrons are shifted to right side, suppose means this carbon you will get a minus charge, this carbon you will get a plus charge. I'll repeat. If pi electrons are shifted this side, this carbon is getting minus charge. When minus charge we are getting means it is electron rich species. If it is electron rich species, our electrophile will come and add here. Okay. Then after electrophile addition, what happens means CH2 becomes CH3. Or once again try to understand clearly. CH3, CH double bond CH2. Now our target is we should add electrophile. Then electrophile addition purpose we need electron rich center. Electron rich center we are making. How we are making means suppose if these pi electrons are shifted. Let's see what happens. I am writing here only CH3, CH. If electrons are going that side means this middle carbon is getting plus charge. Now here a double bond converted to single bond. You will get a CH2 minus. And where minus is there our electrophile will come and attack. That's why H plus and CH2 minus. H plus and CH2 minus. Now this part becomes CH3. CH3. Because after attacking of electrophile here minus charge and that plus charge will be nullified. Just a CH3 only left. But middle carbon is having positive charge. Middle carbon is having positive charge as it is. That's why when carbon is having positive charge, then it is called carbocation. That's why. See, when pi electrons are shifted this side, then this carbon is getting minus charge. On that minus charge, electrophile will come and attack. That's why CH2 minus becomes CH3. And this middle carbon is getting plus charge. I'll write here. It is a CH3. CH middle carbon is getting plus charge and CH3. It is of course carbocation. Now which carbocation means this positively charged carbon is having two carbon atoms. That's why it is a secondary carbocation. It is a possibility 1 or possibility A. Right. Then suppose if pi electrons are shifted this side. Because is also possibility. That side can shift or this side also can shift. Okay. If pi electrons are shifted this side, what happens? Let's see now. CH3, CH minus, again single bond, CH2 will get a plus charge because electrons are coming this side. If electrons are coming this side, this carbon is getting plus charge. Right. Now immediately our electrophile will come and attack here. Because electrophile need electron rich center. When H plus is coming and adding here, CH minus and H plus, CH minus and H plus becomes a CH2. Therefore, you will get a CH3, CH2, CH2 plus. This plus charge will be as it is only. Once again, if pi electrons are shifted this side, this carbon is getting minus charge, this carbon is getting plus charge. Where minus charge is there, our electrophile will come and attack. After electrophile attacking, you will get a CH2. Then last carbon is having a positive charge. That's why that also will write here. If pi electrons are shifted this side, you will get CH3, CH3 and CH2 plus. Again we are getting carbocation, no doubt. Carbocation we are getting, and this carbocation is primary carbocation. Why? Because the positively charged carbon is having only one other carbon atom. That's why it is purely primary carbocation. This is another possibility, possibility B. Like that, we'll have two possibilities. Means if pi electrons are shifted, this side, then we'll get a possibility. If pi electrons are shifted this side, we'll get a B possibility. Both possibilities I have given here. Both are the possibilities. Now question arises, out of these two, which is major or which is correct, we have to decide now. Very simple. Then it is a secondary carbocation, it is a primary carbocation. Secondary carbocation, primary carbocation. Out of secondary as well as primary carbocation, definitely secondary carbocation is more stable comparing with the primary. That's why because of secondary carbocation we can say it is a major. It is a major. A product only major. B product is not major. We can say it is just minor only. Okay, right. Till now ionization has completed and addition of electrophile has also completed. Two steps are completed, and the last step we will see, that is attack of step 3. Attack of nucleophile. Attack of nucleophile. Then what is nucleophile? Br minus is nucleophile. H plus electrophile and Br minus is nucleophile. Already electrophile has attacked. Next we will see nucleophile. That's why now I am not taking this one. Primary carbocation related product I am not taking. Why? Because it is less stable. I will take only secondary carbocation related product. Right. I'll just copy here. CH3, CH plus CH3. It is a secondary carbocation. Now nucleophile, that is a Br minus is coming and attacking. Definitely where nucleophile will come and attack? Nucleophile is electron rich. It needs electron deficiency. That's why definitely Br minus will come and add here only. You will get CH3, CH, Br, CH3. That's it. This is only our final product. See here, compare. 2-bromo-propane we are getting. Means according to Markovnikov's rule, negative part is going and adding to the carbon which contains less number of hydrogens. Why negative part is going and adding to the carbon which contains less number of hydrogens? Means their secondary carbocation is forming. Because of formation of secondary carbocation, our negative part is going and adding to the carbon which contains less number of hydrogens. That is the reason. After completion of mechanism only we will understand why negative part is going and adding to the carbon which contains less number of hydrogens. Means there is a secondary carbon, secondary carbocation. That's it. Okay, right. Then total how many steps are there? 3 steps are there in the mechanism. First one is ionization of hydrogen halide, second one is attack of electrophile, and third one is attack of nucleophile. But this mechanism name is electrophilic addition reaction. Electrophilic addition reaction. Then question arises, sir, why it is electrophilic addition? Because of course here electrophile is adding, simultaneously nucleophile is also adding. Electrophile adding, nucleophile adding, both are adding, but even though we are calling it as electrophilic addition only. Why we are calling it as electrophilic addition? Means first electrophile is adding, remember. Comparing with the nucleophile, first electrophile is only adding. That's why we are calling it as electrophilic addition only. I'll repeat. First, electrophile adding across a double bond. That's why it is called electrophilic addition reaction. That's it. This is addition of hydrogen halide. Once again, we'll recall. In case of symmetrical alkenes, directly hydrogen halide will go and add. There is no any restrictions. But in case of unsymmetrical alkenes, it should follow Markovnikov's rule. According to Markovnikov's rule, the addendum, the negative part of addendum will go and add across the double bond of alkene which contains a less number of hydrogens. It is a Markovnikov's rule statement. According to Markovnikov's rule, we are getting this product, and that product we have explained with the help of mechanism also. That's it. This is about Markovnikov's rule. Next not completed. Exactly till now how many chemical properties we have completed? 3. One is addition of hydrogen, one is addition of halogen, and third one is addition of hydrogen halide. In that addition of hydrogen halide, for unsymmetrical alkenes purpose, we have learned Markovnikov's rule. Next again, same addition of hydrogen halide only, we will learn one more concept, that is anti-Markovnikov's rule. Anti-Markovnikov's rule means opposite to the Markovnikov's rule. Let's see what is anti-Markovnikov's rule. When we have to use anti-Markovnikov's rule, let's discuss now. Okay, right. Anti-Markovnikov's rule, which is also again important concept only. Yeah, anti-Markovnikov's rule, the name itself indicating it is opposite to the Markovnikov's rule. It is just opposite to the Markovnikov's rule. And remember, anti-Markovnikov's rule also will learn in case of addition of hydrogen halide only. Addition of hydrogen halide, that too particularly unsymmetrical alkenes purpose again. Okay, right. Markovnikov's rule also for unsymmetrical alkenes. Even anti-Markovnikov's rule is also for unsymmetrical alkenes only. Let's see now what is the major difference between Markovnikov's rule as well as anti-Markovnikov's rule. See here, I'll give you directly one example. By seeing an example, we'll discuss, then we'll understand. Again, I am taking a propene, which is a purely unsymmetrical alkene. We are adding a hydrogen bromide. Now here important thing is, for anti-Markovnikov's rule, we are using a particular catalyst, that is a peroxide catalyst. This is very important. Remember, for Markovnikov's rule, we have not used any particular catalyst. But in case of anti-Markovnikov's rule, we are using a peroxide, which is having a peroxy bond, like hydrogen peroxide, benzoyl peroxide, etc. type of peroxide we are using as a catalyst. When peroxide is used, then addition takes place just opposite to the Markovnikov's rule. Means again it is H plus and Br minus. It is a negative part of addendum. Now this negative part of addendum here goes and adds across the double bond which contains more number of hydrogens. There less number of hydrogens, here more number of hydrogens. Means Br minus will come and add here, H plus will come and add here. Then you will get a CH3. Then it is converted as CH2, single bond, CH2 Br. We are getting 1, 2, 3, 1 bromo propane we are getting. Okay, according to Markovnikov's rule, negative part of addendum is going and adding across the double bond which contains less number of hydrogens in case of Markovnikov's rule. But in case of anti-Markovnikov's rule, negative part is going and adding to the carbon which contains more number of hydrogens. Then why it is happening? Okay, here one more important thing is compulsory we are using a peroxide catalyst. Okay, peroxide catalyst. That's why by seeing this, how to define anti-Markovnikov's rule, how to tell its statement means very simple. Here, in case of anti-Markovnikov's rule, according to anti-Markovnikov's rule, the negative part of hydrogen halide. And one more thing is compulsory in case of anti-Markovnikov's rule, we are using particularly hydrogen bromide only. Of course, we are having a hydrogen halide, means we are having hydrogen fluoride, hydrogen chloride, hydrogen bromide and hydrogen iodide. This many hydrogen halides are there, but even though in case of Markovnikov's rule, remember, we'll use one and only hydrogen halide, that is hydrogen bromide. We never use hydrogen fluoride, hydrogen chloride, hydrogen iodide here. Why only hydrogen bromide will use? That reason also I'll explain. Wait. First, let's discuss its statement. Okay? That's why, according to anti-Markovnikov's rule, the negative part of hydrogen bromide, is adding to unsymmetrical alkene which contains more number of hydrogens carbon. That's it. The negative part of hydrogen bromide is going and adding to the carbon, across double bond which contains more number of hydrogens. Or then the rule which is taking place just opposite to the Markovnikov's rule is only called as anti-Markovnikov's rule. Okay, right. Now again question arising, sir, why here negative part is going and adding to the carbon which contains more number of hydrogens? Means again we have to learn its mechanism. Without knowing the mechanism, we cannot understand its concept. Why it is adding here, that will not understand without seeing, without understanding the mechanism. Now let's discuss its mechanism. And the thing is, now here anti-Markovnikov's rule mechanism follows a free radical addition reaction. What about Markovnikov's rule? Markovnikov's rule mechanism was electrophilic addition. Now it is free radical addition mechanism. That was electrophilic, it is a free radical. That was electrophilic, it is a free radical. Right. How the mechanism is taking place, let's discuss. But before that, anti-Markovnikov's rule is also called peroxy or peroxide effect. Peroxide rule, and its another name is Kharash effect. Kharash effect, another name. Peroxide effect or Kharash effect. We'll have three names for this. One is anti-Markovnikov's rule, one is peroxide effect, one is Kharash effect. That's it. Okay. Now let's discuss its mechanism. Once again, I'll tell you, it follows free radical addition mechanism. Okay. See here, a reaction is taking place in the presence of peroxide. Now which peroxide? Means any peroxide you can take, but we are taking here a benzoyl peroxide. Benzoyl peroxide. Sir, what is benzoyl peroxide? I'll give you its structure. C6H5CO is called benzoyl group, and peroxide means compulsory OO bond should present. Oxygen bond only called peroxy bond. Okay. Now we'll write benzoyl peroxide, CO C6H5. This is only called benzoyl peroxide. C6H5CO, OO, again CO C6H5. This is benzoyl peroxide. Now I am using this benzoyl peroxide as a catalyst in our mechanism. Right. Now it follows again three steps. What are the names of three steps? Means here our names are different because it is a free radical addition. That is, one is a chain initiation, chain propagation, as well as a chain termination. First I will write step 1, chain initiation. Chain initiation step. In the chain initiation, what happens means whatever the peroxide is there, C6H5, CO, CO, C6H5, benzoyl peroxide. Okay, now in the step 1, it undergoes homolytic cleavage. OO bond undergoing homolytic cleavage. When homolytic cleavage is taking place, what happened now? Free radicals will be generated. How the free radicals are generated? Let's write. Let's see here. See, C6H5 and CO Right. Here I will try to understand the electrons. Actually, oxygen means total 6 electrons are present. 6 electrons are present in its valence shell. Then after homolytic cleavage, then 1 electron already participate in the bond formation. See here. Then to this oxygen 1 electron already participate in the bond formation. Then after homolytic cleavage, then 1 electron is present here. This one single electron. That single electron I will write here. Okay, now out of 6, 2 are appearing, still 4 electrons. Those 4 electrons I will write here. That's it. After homolytic cleavage, will get this structure. And this side, that side will have same quantity. That's why directly we can write 2 moles. 2 moles of this compound is obtained. Next, again further reaction is taking place. In the further reaction, what happened then? In the further reaction, again homolytic cleavage is taking place here. See here 1 electron, here 1 electron. This electron is coming on phenyl group, and this electron, this unpaired electron is coming between carbon and oxygen. And whatever the unpaired single electron is there, that electron is also shifting between carbon and oxygen. Try to understand. Here this electron is coming on phenyl group. This electron is coming in between carbon and oxygen. And already oxygen is having one unpaired electron. That electron is also coming between carbon and oxygen. Means between carbon and oxygen, 2 electrons are coming and joining. Because of 2 electrons, we can write one bond. See here, that's why this bond already breaking. You will get 2 moles of phenyl group. Phenyl free radical, because this electron is coming here. 2 moles of phenyl free radical is forming, plus. Already C double bond O, and here also we will get C double bond O, means carbon dioxide. 2 moles of carbon dioxide is releasing. See, all these steps are part and parcel of chain initiation only. Let's see once again. Here OO bond undergoing homolytic cleavage. That's why then we will get 2 equal parts. That's why directly I will write here 2 moles. And because of homolytic cleavage, oxygen is getting. This oxygen is getting one unpaired electron. Total should be 6 electrons. Out of 6, 1 electron is already participating in the bond formation. Remaining should be 5. 5 means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One unpaired electron is present. Next, here also homolytic cleavage takes place. Because of homolytic cleavage, 1 electron is coming here. This electron is coming between carbon and oxygen. And this unpaired electron is also coming between carbon and oxygen. That's why we will get another double bond. C double bond O, C double bond O is nothing but carbon dioxide. Right. Next, whatever the phenyl free radical is there, that phenyl free radical is reacting with particularly hydrogen bromide. Why particularly hydrogen bromide only we are using, that we will discuss shortly. Okay. Now we will take hydrogen bromide. When phenyl is coming and reacting with hydrogen bromide also undergoing free radical, that is homolytic cleavage. When it is undergoing homolytic cleavage, we will get hydrogen free radical, bromine free radical. 2 free radicals will be generated. Out of hydrogen free radical and bromine free radical, remember, hydrogen free radical is more reactive. Because of more reactivity, hydrogen free radical will come and join with the phenyl free radical like this. Hydrogen free radical will come and react with the phenyl free radical. That's why C6H5 and H. C6H5 and H, you will get a benzene. C6H6 is obtained. Plus bromine free radical is forming here. Bromine free radical is appearing. All these steps are part and parcel of chain initiation only. Means in the initiation, ultimately what we are getting, a bromine free radical we are getting. Right. Then we will go to step 2. That is a chain propagation. In the chain propagation, this bromine free radical will go and it will propagate the reaction. How the propagation will takes place, that also we will discuss. Okay. Right. Okay, and step 2, chain propagation. In the chain propagation, what happened? This bromine free radical only will develop the chain, will propagate the chain. Okay, right. How it is possible? Let's see now. We'll take our main reactant CH3, CH double bond CH2 propene. Now on this propene, Br, bromine free radical is coming and attacking. Again, I'll show here, I'll give you here two possibilities. Say possibility A, possibility B. Okay, yeah. Once again, we'll try to understand the concept. I'll write once again here CH3, CH double bond CH2, Br free radical. Okay, right. When propene is reacted with the bromine free radical, then whatever the pi bond is there, this pi bond undergoing again homolytic cleavage. Means one electron is coming on this carbon, one electron is coming on this carbon. Okay now? Right. When I'll write like this. CH3, CH will have only single bond. CH2, both carbons are having unpaired electrons on them. Suppose our bromine will come and attack here. Our bromine is coming and attacking here. What happens now? This free radical will form a bond, and the compound is like this. Br is coming and attacking this. You will get CH2Br. One product is obtained. Once again, after homolytic cleavage, this carbon is getting one free radical. This carbon also getting one free radical. And when bromine is coming and attacking here one unpaired electron is there. Here also one unpaired electron. Both will form one bond. Means this is one possible product is obtained. That's why A, I'll write this one. CH3, CH, single bond, CH2, Br. It is a possibility 1. Okay. Next, possibility 2 also will write. CH3, CH double bond, CH2, Br free radical. Then already known to you, it is undergoing homolytic cleavage. That once again I'll write here. CH3, CH unpaired electron, single bond, CH2 unpaired electron plus Br free radical. In first case, bromine free radical has coming and attacking here. That is possibility 1. What is possibility 2? Bromine free radical can come and attack here also, because we'll have both possibilities. Bromine free radical can come and attack here also. Suppose if bromine free radical is coming and attacking here, what you will get then? CH3, CH, Br, single bond, CH2 with free radical again. This is another possibility. That possibility also I'll write here. B. That I'll copy here. CH3, CH, Br, single bond, CH2. That's it. Means two possibilities have shown here. Two possibilities. How the two possibilities are obtained, I explained clearly. Suppose those who not understood, once again you just revise the video and you just watch once again. Okay, two possibilities we are getting. Right. Out of these two, again, which is major, which is minor is again question mark. Very simple. Very simple. Here, this free radical, this carbon free radical is a secondary free radical. It is secondary carbon free radical. It is a primary free radical, primary carbon free radical. It is a secondary carbon free radical and it is a primary carbon free radical. Then out of primary as well as secondary free radicals, already known to you, secondary carbon free radical is more stable than primary carbon free radical. That means it is more stable. It is more stable and it is less stable. That's it. It is more stable, it is less stable. Second step has completed now. Then we will go to third step. Second step, one more step is there, right? Then whatever the secondary free radical we are getting, a CH3, CH, single bond, CH2Br. Now, this secondary free radical is attacked with HBr, another HBr molecule. Another HBr molecule, and again HBr undergoing homolytic cleavage. One electron is coming here, one electron is coming here. Then a hydrogen free radical reactivity is more. That's why a hydrogen free radical will come and attack here. Hydrogen free radical will come and attack here. You will get CH3, CH2, Br plus bromine free radical is forming. This is our final product according to anti-Markovnikov's rule. See here once again. We'll just recall the reaction. CH3, CH double bond, CH2 plus HBr in the presence of peroxide. Negative part is going and adding to the carbon which contains more hydrogens. You will get a CH3, H2 single bond, CH2Br. This product only obtained here. This product only obtained here. That we have explained clearly with the help of anti-Markovnikov's rule mechanism. Then why negative part is going and adding to the carbon which contain more hydrogens? Because there we are getting secondary carbon free radical. Secondary carbon free radical we are getting. Because of that secondary carbon free radical we are getting this product. That's it. Okay, this is the mechanism. Okay, next not completed. Step 3, last step, chain termination. Chain termination, of course. In chain termination, what we are doing, whatever the free radical is there, bromine free radical, this free radical we have to terminate. How? Very simple. This bromine free radical we should react with another bromine free radical. Both the bromine free radicals will be reacted and finally you will get a bromine. Then no more free radical finally. Once BRP is obtained, reaction will be stopped. That's it. This is mechanism which includes total 3 stages. One is the chain initiation, chain propagation, chain termination. Okay. Then you just revise these videos as possible as times to understand clearly. Okay. Then, sir, particularly why HBr only we are using in the anti-Markovnikov's rule? Why not other hydrogen halides? Why not other hydrogen halides? For that purpose, I'll give you the explanation now. Try to understand. Suppose if you take, I'll write all hydrogen fluoride, hydrogen chloride, hydrogen bromide and hydrogen iodide. Why particularly hydrogen bromide we are using means, here hydrogen fluoride, hydrogen chloride bonds are strong, they are not breaking easily. I'll repeat. HBr, when we are comparing with HBr, HF as well as HCl bonds are strong. Because of strong tendency, they are not easily breaking. That's why these two we are not preferring. Okay, leave it. Then comparing with HBr, HI bond is weak. It is easily breaking. It can easily break. It can easily break and it can easily form free radicals like this. But why we are not using HI? I'll repeat. HF as well as HCl, they are strong bonds. They are not easily breaking. That's why we are not using. Okay, leave it. Then comparing with HBr as well as HI bond is weak. HI can easily break into free radicals, but even though why we are not using HI means there is a problem with HI, that is whatever the iodine free radical we are getting, this iodine free radical immediately converted into again iodine molecule. I'll repeat once again, iodine free radical immediately converting into iodine. Once iodine molecule is forming, our reaction will not continue. That is the problem. Okay. Here cleavage is taking place, but immediately iodine free radical is converted into iodine. Because of this reason, we are using one and only hydrogen halide, that is HBr. This is about anti-Markovnikov's rule. Both Markovnikov's rule as well as anti-Markovnikov's rule, both the rules we have completed and both are just opposite to each other. And as far as anti-Markovnikov's rule is concerned, compulsory conditions are there. What conditions are there? Alkene should be unsymmetrical and compulsory HBr, compulsory peroxide. Then only anti-Markovnikov's rule takes place. Okay, we will discuss some questions based on this. Then you will understand clearly. We will discuss some questions. Yeah, I'll give you. Suppose example 1. CH3, CH double bond, CH2, HBr. And example 2. CH3, CH double bond, CH2, HBr in the presence of peroxide. Third example. CH3, CH double bond, CH2, HCl peroxide, and CH3, CH double bond, CH2, again HCl. Yeah. Then total here I have given 4 questions and it's related products we have to write. It's related products. Let's see now. Unsymmetrical alkene, unsymmetrical alkene, unsymmetrical, unsymmetrical. All are unsymmetrical alkenes only. Here all are hydrogen halides only. First, HBr. HBr. No peroxide, remember. No peroxide means definitely it is a Markovnikov's rule takes place. According to Markovnikov's rule, negative part is going and adding to the carbon which contains less hydrogens. Therefore, you will get CH3, CHBr, single bond, CH3 is the major product. Right. Another example, unsymmetrical alkene, HBr, peroxide. Remember, if these 2 conditions are there, definitely blindly remember this reaction takes place according to anti-Markovnikov's rule. According to anti-Markovnikov's rule, again a negative part is going and adding to the carbon which contains more hydrogens. That's why you will get the product CH3, CH2, CH2Br. See the difference? It is according to Markovnikov's rule, is according to anti-Markovnikov's rule, and of course both the examples already we have learned. Next, third example, propene again, unsymmetrical alkene, we are adding with HCl in the presence of peroxide. HCl in the presence of peroxide. Generally students by seeing peroxide they will tempt. By seeing peroxide, they'll think it is according to anti-Markovnikov's rule, but that is absolutely wrong. Anti-Markovnikov purpose compulsory 2 conditions should be there. What are those 2 conditions? Means one should be HBr, one should be peroxide. Out of these 2, if anyone is missed, definitely that reaction takes place according to Markovnikov's rule only. I'll repeat. HBr, peroxide, out of these 2, if any one is missed, definitely that reaction takes place according to Markovnikov's rule, but not anti-Markovnikov's rule. That's why here just by seeing peroxide, don't think it is anti-Markovnikov's rule, because here HBr is not there. HBr is not there. HBr is not there. That's why it is Markovnikov's rule only. Even though peroxide is there, remember, even though peroxide is there, reaction takes place according to Markovnikov's rule. This is very important. Next, then according to Markovnikov's rule, already known to you, negative part is going and adding to the carbon which contains less number of hydrogens. Therefore, CH3, CHCl, CH3, that's it. And last, HCl. Of course, it may be HCl or HBr, doesn't matter. Peroxide is not there. Once peroxide is not there, definitely it is a Markovnikov's rule only takes place. According to Markovnikov's rule, again negative part is coming and adding to the carbon which contained a less number of hydrogens. Same we can copy here. See here peroxide is there, peroxide is not there. That is not matter. Compulsory HBr, peroxide. If both the conditions are there, if both the components are there, then only anti-Markovnikov's rule takes place. According to anti-Markovnikov's rule, we will get the product. Out of these 2, if anyone is missed, definitely a reaction takes place according to Markovnikov's rule only. That's it. This is about addition of hydrogen halide. Only 3 chemical properties we have learned. Remember, one is addition of hydrogen, second one is addition of halogen, third one is addition of hydrogen halide. Okay, then we will enter into next addition reaction we will discuss, that is addition of fourth one, addition of sulfuric acid. Addition of sulfuric acid we will discuss. Right. Addition of sulfuric acid. Yeah, first I'll give you example 1. Okay, then I'll take first a symmetrical alkene, that is a ethene reacted with a concentrated sulfuric acid, and sulfuric acid means already known to you will have H plus and HSO4 minus ions. Again same thing, if it is a symmetrical alkene, then whatever the manner we can add, there is no issue. Means H plus can add here, HSO4 minus can add here, or H plus can add here, HSO4 minus can add here. There is no any problem because it is a symmetrical alkene. That's why H plus I am adding here, HSO4 minus I am adding here. You will get CH3 single bond CH2 HSO4. We are getting a ethyl hydrogen sulfate. Ethyl hydrogen sulfate, one saturated compound we are getting. Why? Because we are adding a sulfuric acid across a double bond. Okay, right. Then another example, CH3 CH double bond CH2. It is propene. It is ethene. It is a symmetrical. It is unsymmetrical. Right. Again, problem arising here. In case of unsymmetrical alkene, addition of sulfuric acid takes place according to Markovnikov's rule only. Therefore, when we are adding a sulfuric acid, that is H plus comma HSO4, a reaction takes place according to Markovnikov's rule. According to Markovnikov's rule, negative part HSO4 minus is going and adding to the carbon which contained a less number of hydrogens. Therefore, we will get a CH3 CH. This HSO4 we can write like this, OSO3H. Both are same. Just count HSO4, HSO4, OSO3H will write. Why? Because HSO4, when it is attacking on this carbon will be connected directly with the oxygen, not with hydrogen. That's why better we'll write like this. Okay, then hydrogen is coming and adding here. Therefore, single bond CH3. Its name is isopropyl hydrogen sulfate. It is ethyl hydrogen sulfate. It is isopropyl hydrogen sulfate is obtained. And we can write a general reaction also. General reaction how? Then instead of methyl I will write R. Remaining is same. CH double bond CH2 plus H2SO4. Okay, then same type I am adding R, CH, then OSO3H, CH3, that's it. Alkyl hydrogen sulfate, its name is alkyl hydrogen sulfate, ethyl hydrogen sulfate, isopropyl hydrogen sulfate, that's it. This is addition of sulfuric acid. In case of a symmetrical alkene, whatever the manner can be added, there is no issue. Suppose if it is unsymmetrical alkene, definitely addition takes place according to Markovnikov's rule only. Okay, right. Next, fifth one, addition of water. Addition of water, H2O. How addition of water takes place? Let's discuss now. Yeah. Then we'll take directly one example, CH2 double bond CH2 plus we are adding water we are having H plus and OH minus. Addition takes place in the presence of any acid as a catalyst. Definitely again it is a symmetrical alkene. If it is a symmetrical alkene, addition takes place in any manner. Means H plus can add here, OH minus can add here, or H plus can add here, or OH minus can add here. There is no issue. That's why we'll get CH3 single bond CH2 OH, means we are getting corresponding alcohol. In case of a symmetrical alkene, addition can be takes place in any manner. Of course, ultimately we are getting alcohol. Example 2. In case of unsymmetrical alkene, again H2O, again H plus OH minus, reaction takes place in the presence of any acid catalyst. Definitely addition takes place according to Markovnikov's rule only. It is also similar to previous case. Okay, in case of unsymmetrical alkene, addition takes place according to Markovnikov's rule, means the negative part of addendum is going and adding to the carbon which contained less number of hydrogens. Therefore, you will get CH3, CH, OH, CH3, its name propane 2-ol, ultimately alcohol we are getting. Ethene, ethanol, propene, propane 2-ol we are getting. Okay, here no Marconi, nothing. Why? Because it is a symmetrical alkene. But in case of unsymmetrical alkenes, Markovnikov's rule will be followed. Right. Next, from this, all addition reactions are completed. Remember, addition reactions are completed. Next, we'll discuss some different reaction that is called oxidation reactions, which is again very important reaction. That is oxidation. Number 6, oxidation. Yeah, what is oxidation? How oxidation reactions are taking place? Let's discuss now, which is very important again. Yeah, oxidation purpose, I'll give you like 2 different type of reagents. Just a minute. First, I am just doing bifurcation. Okay. First, here A, I'll take a cold diluted alkaline KMnO4 potassium permanganate I am using, because potassium permanganate is best strong oxidizing agent, and cold diluted alkaline KMnO4 is also called as a Bayer's reagent. It is Bayer's reagent, its name. In case 1, in case A, we'll use Bayer's reagent. Case 2 or B, we'll use hot. It is alkaline, nothing but basic. Now I'll use here acidic KMnO4 we are using, because you will get 2 different products. It is KMnO4, that is also KMnO4, no doubt. It is strong oxidizing agent, there also it is a strong oxidizing agent, but it is alkaline KMnO4, that is acidic KMnO4. Alkaline KMnO4, acidic KMnO4, definitely the obtained products are different. Let's see which products are obtained. I'll give you example 1. I'll take ethene is reacting with a diluted alkaline KMnO4. Diluted is nothing but water I am taking, water, diluted. And KMnO4 is a strong oxidizing agent. What is the role of oxidizing agent? Oxidizing agent oxidizes others, itself undergoes reduction. That's why this KMnO4 is giving oxygen to this ethene. I'll write nascent oxygen. This is coming from KMnO4. KMnO4 is giving this one, means KMnO4 is losing oxygen. KMnO4 is losing oxygen, means KMnO4 itself undergoing reduction. Itself undergoing reduction means it oxidizes others. Who is that other? Other is ethene. Ethene, by taking that oxygen, undergoes oxidation. Who is undergoing oxidation? Ethene undergoing oxidation. Okay, right. Then H2O and O. H2O and O means we are having a 2 hydrogens and 2 oxygens. Convenient purpose will write like this: OH, I'll write 2 oxygens and 2 hydrogens. Now OH and OH will add across the double bond. How? See here. I'll write here. CH2 to the CH2 1 OH is adding, and a double bond coming to single bond, again CH2 OH. We are getting a vicinal diols, vicinal adjacent diol, and these are also called glycols. In general, we will call it as a glycol. And 2 carbons glycol, it is called ethylene glycol. Ethylene glycol it is. Ethylene glycol, its common name. And IUPAC name means we can write ethane 1,2 diol will write. That's it. When ethene reacted with a diluted alkaline KMnO4, nothing but Bayer's reagent, we are getting a glycols or vicinal diols are obtained. Ol, OH is called ol, right. And if you want, you can take one more example. That example I write here. Say propene CH3 CH double bond CH2 propene, same H2O, nascent oxygen which is coming from KMnO4, and again one OH will add here, one OH will add here, you will get a CH3 CH OH single bond CH2 OH. That's it. 1 2 3 propane 1,2 diol. Two examples have given. One is with ethene, one is with propene. One is with ethene, one is with propene. Okay, right. Then this cold diluted alkaline KMnO4 is called Bayer's reagent. And in both the cases we are getting diols, that too vicinal diols we are getting, right. Now in case of hot acidic KMnO4, how the oxidation is taking place. For that purpose, I'll give you some conditions. Please try to remember those conditions, then our job is easy then. Okay, what are those conditions? Means first, suppose in our compound, if this group is present like R, C, R double bond, if this group is present in our alkene, now you will not understand. We will take example later. Okay, now by seeing example you will understand. Now just remember R, C, R with a double bond. If this group is present in our alkene, then if it is reacted with acidic KMnO4, acidified KMnO4, what is this? It is alkaline KMnO4. OH minus KMnO4 it is. OH minus KMnO4, alkaline KMnO4. It is acidic KMnO4. Remember, definitely oxidation is taking place. When both alkyl groups are present, then that compound is turned into ketone RC double bond O. That's it. Blindly just remember. If our alkene is having this type of group, that part converted into ketone. Next, another point, RCH double bond O. Sorry. Means if our alkene is having this group, one is alkyl, one is hydrogen. Here both are alkyl groups, here one is alkyl, one is hydrogen. Then during the oxidation, it is undergoing oxidation and converted into RCOOH, carboxylic acid is obtained. If this group is present, convert into carboxylic acid. And last, suppose if both hydrogens only present, if our alkene is having this group, then during the oxidation we will get ultimately CO2 and H2O. You people compulsory should remember these three cases, then our job is easy. Okay, right. Now we'll take example. Example 1. In example 1, I'll take CH3, CH double bond, CH3 I am taking. What is this? It is a butadiene. Butadiene I am taking. When a butadiene is undergoing oxidation in the presence of hot acidified KMnO4, what happens? Which product is obtained? With the help of these three cases, will decide our product here. Okay, with the help of these three cases, we'll decide the product. Okay, for that purpose, I will do one thing. I'll just remove these reactions. These reactions already we have discussed. It is cold diluted KMnO4, that is hot acidified KMnO4. Already these reactions are completed. Now that reaction I'll write here by removing this one. Okay, right. That example I'll copy once again here. Same example 1. What is that? Butadiene. Butadiene I'll write convenient purpose like this. Carbon double bond. Carbon double bond. This carbon, one methyl group is there and one hydrogen is there. That's why one methyl group I'll write and one hydrogen I'll write. This carbon also having one hydrogen as well as one methyl group. Therefore, we'll write a methyl group and hydrogen. And this compound is undergoing oxidation in the presence of acidified potassium permanganate. Oxidation is taking place. Then we'll see our conditions. See, alkyl group hydrogen is present in our alkene. When alkyl and hydrogen is present, this part converted into, see here, alkyl hydrogen, if both are present to the alkene, that part converted into corresponding carboxylic acid. That's why luckily this part and this part both are same. It is also alkyl and hydrogen. Both parts converted into corresponding carboxylic acid. That's why directly I'll write 2 moles of, you will get, see here, RCOOH, RCOOH. That's why CH3COOH, 2 moles of CH3COOH. Its name is acetic acid, or IUPAC name is ethanoic acid is obtained. That's it. Ethanoic acid. If you remember the condition, we can easily write the reaction. If it is a butadiene, it is butadiene. If you take, you will get ethanoic acid. Suppose one more example I'll write, that is second example. Yeah, what is the name of this compound means? Its name is 1, 2, 3. 2-methyl propene. 2-methyl propene is undergoing oxidation. Let's see what happens. Okay. Now this 2-methyl propene also I'll arrange like this. Okay. Now this compound I'll arrange like this. See here. A carbon-carbon double bond I'll write first. Carbon-carbon double bond I'll focus this bond. And this carbon is having 2 hydrogens. That's why we'll write 2 hydrogens this side. And this double bonded carbon is having 2 methyl groups. That's why this double bonded carbon I'll write 2 methyl groups like this. Same compound I have written like this. Both are same. Double bonded carbon will focus. This carbon is having 2 hydrogens, hydrogen. This carbon is having 2 methyl groups, methyl. This compound now undergoing oxidation in the presence of, that is acidified KMnO4. Let's see what happens by using the conditions. See here, when our alkene is having HCH, this part is present, suppose. See here, HCH part converted into CO2 H2. That's why this part converted into CO2 and H2O. Blindly you can write. Next, this part converted into this part, RCR. Again, RCR. This part converted into ketone. That's it. That's why this part I'll write as CH3 double bond O. Over. This part converted into ketone. This part converted into CO2 and H2O. And its name already known to you. 1, 2, 3 carbons are there. Its name is propanone. Propanone is obtained. That's it. These are the examples in case of oxidation. That's why particularly in case of hot acidic KMnO4, you people compulsory should remember these 3 cases. If you remember those 3 cases, whatever the question may give, whatever the example may give, you can easily write the product. Okay. See, this part converted into CO2 and H2O, and this part converted into ketone. Over. That's it. Okay. Next, from this oxidation we have completed. Next, after completion of oxidation, one more next chemical property is ozonalysis. Ozonalysis chemical property is there. Now we'll discuss ozonalysis. Of course, a video may be very lengthy, but please try to cooperate, because we have to finish as possible, as quick as possible we have to complete. Yeah, ozonalysis we will discuss. Yeah, what is ozonalysis means? Very simple. Our alkene, first we have to react with ozone. Ozone formula is O3. Then we will get one intermediate compound, that is called ozonide. That ozonide next will react with zinc in the presence of H2O. We will get a particular product. Let's see what happens. I will give you one simplest example, that is ethene. Otherwise we will start from here. Wait. CH2 double bond CH2 ethene is undergoing a reaction with ozone called as ozonalysis. When ozone will go and add across the double bond, because it is unsaturated compound, we will get one intermediate compound, that is like this, OCH2O. and its name is ozonide. Which ozonide? Ethylene ozonide. Ethylene ozonide is obtained, which is an intermediate compound. This ozonide is undergoing hydrolysis in the presence of zinc. Then because of hydrolysis, this part as well as this part both are breaking. This part both are, it is this part as well as this part both are same. That's why we will get 2 moles of CH2O. See here, CH2O. Sir, what is a CH2O? CH2O is nothing but HCHO. Just compare 1 carbon, 2 hydrogens, 1 oxygen. Its name is formaldehyde. Nothing but methanol. 2 moles of methanol is obtained. Methanol plus byproduct we can say Zn and oxygen. Zinc and oxygen will get a ZnO is obtained. That's it. It is one example. We have taken ethene. And a second example, I will give you propene, CH3, CH double bond, CH2, reacted with the ozone. Where double bond is there, there only ozone will go and add CH3, CH, O, again CH2, O, again we are getting ozonide. It is ethylene ozonide, propylene ozonide, and this ozonide is also undergoing hydrolysis in the presence of zinc. Again this part is breaking, this part is breaking. What we are getting? CH3, CHO, acetaldehyde plus CH2O. CH2O means already known to you, that is formaldehyde. Acetaldehyde is common name, means ethanol, IUPAC name, and it is methanol. And a byproduct is, as it is, again zinc oxide is obtained. And one more example, that is 1, 2, 3. Its name is CH2, CH3. 1, 2, 3. 2-methyl, propone. 2-methyl propone. It is a propene. Is undergoing ozonolysis. Where double bond is there, there ozone will go and add. That's why you will get CH2. O again, we will write C, and this carbon is having a 2 methyl groups, of course. We will write 2 methyl groups like this, just for convenient purpose, and undergoing hydrolysis in the presence of zinc. Therefore, this part is breaking, this part is breaking. Okay, therefore, CH2O, already known to you, that is methanol. HCHO we can write, plus CH3, CO, CH3, nothing but acetone, nothing but propanone we are getting. That's it. Total 3 examples we have taken. First, what happened? Unsaturated compounds, when reacted with ozone, where double bond is there, ozonides are forming. Those ozonides, when undergoing hydrolysis in the presence of zinc, then you will get corresponding aldehydes or ketones. Corresponding carbonyl compounds are obtained. Aldehydes or ketones. Okay. And this ozonolysis is called reductive ozonolysis. Its another name is reductive ozonolysis. Sir, why it is called as a reductive ozonolysis means very simple. One important thing also. Suppose after formation of ozonide, suppose if you are not using the zinc, remember, only hydrolysis if you do, then this product is not obtained. Why? Why means whatever the H2O is there, this H2O reacted with the oxygen. H2O when reacted with oxygen, you will get a hydrogen peroxide. Once hydrogen peroxide is obtained, it is a strong oxidizing agent. If it is oxidizing agent, immediately what happened? Whatever the aldehyde and ketone we are getting, those aldehydes and ketones will be converted into corresponding carboxylic acids. I'll repeat. If zinc is not there, H2O and O both will be combined, you will get a hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide is strong oxidizing agent. In the presence of strong oxidizing agent, whatever the aldehydes and ketones we are getting, those compounds will be ultimately converted into their corresponding carboxylic acids. That's why that is called as oxidative ozonolysis. If zinc is there, reductive ozonolysis. If zinc is not there, oxidative ozonolysis. If zinc is there, reaction will be stopped at aldehyde and ketone stage only. If zinc is not there, reaction is not stopped here. Next step, further oxidation takes place, you will get corresponding carboxylic acids. That's why what zinc is doing, what is the role of zinc? Zinc is reacting with oxygen to prevent further oxidation. If zinc is not there, further oxidation is taking place. Because of zinc, further oxidation will be prevented. Okay, that's it. At aldehyde and ketone stage only, reaction will be stopped. This is about ozonolysis process. And the last, that is a polymerization is there. Last one is a polymerization. Polymerization, right. What is polymerization? Let's see now. Yeah, very simple. Polymerization is nothing but smaller molecules under suitable conditions converted into bigger molecules. Smaller molecules by creating some abnormal, some suitable conditions converted into big molecule is called polymerization. Then whatever the smaller molecules we are using, they are called as monomers, and whatever the final compound we will get, that is called polymer. That's it. And we'll take suitable example. That is example number 1. Ethene means we are taking a n ethene molecules. N means it may be 3, 4, 5, 10, 50 like that. N ethene molecules undergoing a polymerization in the presence of like 200 degrees centigrade and 1500 atmospheres. 200 degrees centigrade as well as 1500 atmospheres pressure in the presence of oxygen catalyst. Then under these conditions, ethene undergoing a polymerization means all ethene molecules will be joined to each other, will get a big molecule. That big molecule I will show like this. Take an N. This is only called polythene. Ethene will be converted into polythene. With the help of this polythene only, that polythene covers will be manufactured. Polythene covers in shops will observe polythene covers that will be manufactured with the help of this component only. Okay, it is a big molecule, giant molecule. And one more example like CH3, CH3 double bond CH2 N moles. Its name is propene. Just convenient purpose I have written like this. CH2 CH3 propene is undergoing polymerization in the presence of high temperature and pressure. Of course, in the presence of oxygen catalyst. Propene also undergoing polymerization. You will get a polypropene. Polypropene, that's it. Propene converted into polypropene. These two examples has given in our syllabus. Ethene converted into polyethene, propene converted into polypropene. You have to remember these conditions as well as reactions. And regarding polymerization, we will learn in second year clearly, because in second year one particular lesson is there about these polymers. Okay, right. And finally, some uses of polymers has given and already known to you in our day-to-day life activities. All polythene covers, plastic covers and plastic bottles and so many plastic dishes, plastic buckets, so many plastic things we are using, all are made with polymers only. Okay, right. From this we have completed alkenes. Second topic also we have completed. Alkanes completed, alkenes completed. Next in hydrocarbons lesson, and still two topics are there. One is alkynes and other one is benzene. Okay, right. In the next class we will start alkynes topic. Right. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.